Alright, everybody back in their seats? Or I suppose standing or lying down or hovering in midair or wherever you were watching this from. Oh, I'm disappointed at the lack of levitation. Now we are at the police department, so you didn't miss too much.
Why would they put the police department so far away from the prosecutor's office?
Beats me. It took almost 30 minutes by taxi. Traffic wasn't even that bad. The police department, huh? I've only ever been to criminal affairs next door. Hmm? Hold on, what's that? Haha, this thing.
Disturbing. Why does it undulate like that?
Oh wait, I know. This is the Blue Badger. They're trying to make him the police mascot. Yeah, this mascot will haunt the entire rest of the series. It's a thing.
Wow, Mr. Wright, you sure know a lot about the police. Still, he does seem familiar somehow.
Forget the Blue Badger. Who's that next to him? I actually know a couple of cops who are not bastards, but they kind of run around muttering the same thing under their breath, so I would assume they're the exception.
Someone appears to be dancing with the Blue Badger. Uh-oh, he noticed me.
He sure is running over here fast. Hey, pal! What are you doing here? That's my line, Detective Gumshoe. Specifically, why were you dancing over there? What? Well. Well, at least he doesn't seem to be busy. This is our chance to get information. Hey, I'll have you know I'm a very busy man, pal. I'll give you one word of advice, pal. You better not agree to defend the suspect in this case.
Why not?
Huh? Well, it's just that the chief prosecutor has confessed to the crime. She says she summoned the detective to the prosecutor's office and she killed him.
But what if she's not telling the truth?
Yeah, well... No! Come on, pal! There's plenty of evidence against her.
But what if the evidence was faked?
Hey, pal. Can I speak to you for a second? Huh? Me? Why is this little girl so peeved at me? She's a relative of the suspect. She's Lana Sky's sister. Whoa! The chief prosecutor's little sister?
Just please investigate this carefully, okay? Scientifically.
Yes, sir! Oh, by the way, you might want to keep your voices down. You don't want to be overheard using words like faked.
Huh?
It's a sensitive issue with us these days.
So, what are you doing here, Detective Gumshoe?
Me? Oh, well, nothing really. They kicked me out of criminal affairs. Detective Gumshoe, what did you do this time? What do you mean, this time?
Then, what happened? I know things are busy right now. I mean, with my sister's case and all.
It's true. We've never had a chief prosecutor murder anyone before. Only the highest ranked people are being let into criminal affairs now. The lowest ranking guy in there is our chief of detectives. They're not letting any of us rank and file detectives in at all.
None of you?
I know this is an important trial, but isn't that a little odd? So anyway, I thought I'd spend the day getting the Badger dance down pat.
Isn't there anything else you could be doing?
Chief of Police himself is directing this investigation, pal. An Officer Marshall was assigned to the underground parking lot.
Officer Marshall?
Now that I think about it, Emma did seem to know that Marshall guy. A patrolman in charge of a crime scene. It's unheard of, pal! Let's see what you have to say. Detective Gumshoe, what can you tell me about this? Huh? Hey, pal, this is the detective's ID card. You can't just keep that. You have to turn it into the police. It's people like you that get me into so much trouble all the time. Meaning Detective Gumshoe must drop his card a lot. Let's see. Bruce Goodman. Goodman. Sounds familiar. Nah, my mistake.
But didn't you work together with him in criminal affairs?
Whoa! Now I remember! Bruce Goodman! He's the victim! That's what I thought.
Can you tell us more, Detective Gumshoe?
So this ID card belonged to the victim. He was a detective, like myself. Detective Bruce Goodman.
Don't you think it's strange? I mean, why would the victim's ID card be lying on the ground where we found it?
Well, Detective Goodman should have been at the police department yesterday. There was an evidence transferal for a case he handled 2 years ago.
Evidence transferal? Mr. Edgeworth mentioned that too. But Detective Goodman was killed at the prosecutor's office.
Well, that's the thing. It's hard to say this, but... word is that Chief Prosecutor Sky called him out there to the parking lot. And Lana's confessing as much. Hey, that's it! That's the King of Prosecutors award that Mr. Edgeworth got yesterday. Were you at the awards ceremony, Detective Gumshoe? Of course, pal. I got an award for diligence myself. Congratulations.
I was wondering, why is the award a shield? And why is it broken?
Oh, there's a reason. I'll tell you what it is later. Apparently he's forgotten. But I was proud of Mr. Edgeworth for winning that award. Even with all the naysayers in the prosecutor's office. Naysayers? Must be because of the rumors. Found in Mr. Edgeworth's car, stabbed with Mr. Edgeworth's knife, huh? What would drive Chief Prosecutor Sky to do such a thing? What? Wait, I didn't mean... I mean, sure, of course someone else really did it. Someone who must have, someone who must have a grudge against Mr. Edgeworth. The car and the knife do seem a little too well organized to be a coincidence.
Poor Mr. Edgeworth. What could have happened?
We have to find out a little more about what's going on with Edgeworth. He's in a tough spot again. Again? Well, it all started with the murder of that defense attorney, Hammond.
But Mr. Edgeworth was found innocent.
Listen, pal, there have always been rumors about Mr. Edgeworth. Forging evidence, making deals with witnesses. Nothing outright, but there were always whispered rumors. Ever since he was accused of murder, no one's whispering. They're practically shouting.
But there's no evidence against him.
Well, Mr. Edgeworth has always had unusually strong ties to the department higher-ups. It's only natural that people would be suspicious. I had no idea he was under the gun. Anyway, this latest case has started a new rumor. People say the only reason he took this case is because he's aiming for the chief prosecutor's position himself. What? But I know the truth, pal. Nobody wants to be the one who has to prosecute the chief prosecutor. Mr. Edgeworth is biting the bullet on this one. He's doing this for all of us.
Detective, here's my attorney's badge.
You show this to me every time we meet, pal. Real men show the police badge. Nuff said.
I wish I had a badge. Even an ID card would be nice.
Wait. Speaking of ID cards, I found the detective's card, didn't I? What am I supposed to do? Alright. There's stuff I have to examine. I still have the walkthrough open because this case is a little bit less obviously written than the other ones. The first time I played this game, I got through most of them without having to consult any kind of walkthrough. But this case is a little bit less tightly plotted, I guess. So, yeah, I have a walkthrough open so I can remember to do everything I'm supposed to.
I was wondering about that.
What? The Dancing Blue Badger? It's my masterpiece! You made this, Detective Gumshoe? The chief threw together some designs and I just did my thing, pal.
Nice work.
It's battery powered, so it can go anywhere. There's no switch, so it just dances until the batteries die.
Poor Blue Badger, fated to dance until he drops.
And that's all I know about that. I'm not officially on the case, you know.
Thank you.
Why aren't you handling this case, Detective Gumshoe? Oh, it is definitely going to come up in court. It's a thing. The Blue Badger is one of those recurring MacGuffins that serves a bunch of different purposes in a bunch of different cases, and the fact that it can dance without being plugged in is kind of an element later. I mean, we met the guy who is, what's his name? The guy in the parking lot. That'd be Officer Marshall. He was appointed directly by the Chief of Police. Officer Marshall. Is he some kind of Wild West sheriff or something? No, Jake Marshall's just a regular officer. From West LA. For a moment there, I wasn't sure. Look, pal, let me try to make things a little easier for you. Show them this, and they'll let you examine the crime scene. Maybe. Okay, so we have a letter of introduction from Detective Gumshoe. I'll be surprised if this gets us anywhere. I should point out, even though Gumshoe is not the greatest detective on Earth, he's actually pretty well liked at the police department. He's really good at being big, dumb, heroic muscle. Like, he's very good-hearted, and everyone understands that. Just act like you're supposed to be there. Nobody will look at you twice, pal. Alright, here goes. Looks like the investigation is still going. I have to be getting back to the shop. Sorry. Looks like I'll be stuck in this pit till the sun sleeps. I'll see you in my dreams tonight then, baby.
Oh, still here? Hello? Why the surprised looks? Didn't I mention? I've got a boyfriend in criminal affairs, too.
What happened to the security guard? Hey, what's wrong, Bambina? You're looking like a doggy that's lost its herd. Jake Marshall. Strange guy to put in charge of a crime scene.
There's something I wanted to ask you.
Scene of the crime. Old grave for men who've lost their dreams. And me? I watch over them as they sleep, dreaming of the desert's harsh judgment.
He's asleep.
Oh? Should we show this helpless case something to catch his interest?
Yes, we should.
Would you mind reading this for me? What's this? I warn you, fan letters to me go right into the spittoon. It's a letter of introduction from Detective Gumshoe. May we investigate? Gumshoe? Oh, that old cow dog. He holding a birthday party or something? Huh? Look, where it should say letter of introduction, it says invitation. I think you just miswrote it. Wait, why am I getting all defensive here? No worries. This proves it's from Detective Gumshoe, better than a blood test. Guess I better let you in then.
Thank you, Officer Marshall.
Oh, that's right, he's a patrolman, not a detective. Which reminds me.
Hey, wait a sec. Isn't a crime scene supposed to be handled by a detective or higher?
Well, folks, the clues are calling. Welcome to our gold strike. Be like the settler, strike out for lands unknown. I mean, I'd presume he has the uniform on under that poncho. There's a lot weird about this guy. I mean, starting with the outfit but not ending with it. They're all making the point that detectives are normally in charge of crime scenes, that he's been personally sent down here to take charge by the chief of police, which is kind of an important thing. Manifest destiny. Let's have a hootenanny.
Note to self, police investigations are like settling land. Well, Mr. Wright, what do you say?
I say I won't be needing this anymore. Officer Marshall, could you tell us more about the victim? Good men always die young. Remember that, partner. Could you be a little more specific?
Bruce Goodman. He was a detective, right?
Yeah, Officer Marshall isn't exactly what you'd call a good guy here, although he's not the biggest problem we're gonna have in this case. Well, well, aren't you a feisty doggy there now? Detective Goodman was stabbed here at 5:15. Smiling Madonna told me the tale. I think he means the witness, Miss Angel Starr. One stab to the chest. Fine piece of work. This here's the autopsy report. Okay. Goodman's autopsy report. Death due to loss of blood, one knife wound, died within an hour and a half of 4 p.m. That's amazingly unspecific for this game, so that's probably going to come up, you think?
Was my sister involved with the victim in any way?
Funny you should mention that, Bambina. Chief Prospector Sky and Detective Goodman had nothing in common at all.
Nothing in common.
They apparently worked together on a case a few years back. So there's no motive. Goodman wasn't a particularly gifted detective. That's one reason why he didn't do much work with the Chief Prospector.
But my sister called the victim here on the day of the murder, right? Here, to this parking lot.
So it seems, like calling an unarmed man to a shootout at high noon. I don't mean any offense, but Officer Marshall, you're a patrolman, right? Not a detective? You calling me out? They shoot you for that in Texas. Huh? I was one of them fancy shoe detectives till 2 years ago, to tell you the truth. Oh, really? Now he tells me.
But you're a patrolman now, so how can you be in charge of a crime scene?
Nothing gets by you, does it, Bambina? So why are you in charge? No reason. We're just short on hands right now. I'm keeping an eye out in the meantime.
That's odd, though. Detective Gumshoe was saying he had nothing to do. Nothing important, at least.
He's nothing but a sad old cowdog who can't find his own tail. Maybe it's because he runs with that Edgeworth, eh? Edgeworth? That cowdog's been kicked out of this cattle run by order of the chief of police. Just, you don't realize it yet. Detective Gumshoe kicked out of the investigation? Huh. So apparently the chief of police, yeah. So apparently the chief of police is basically ousting everybody who had any ties to Edgeworth. After the victim was found in Edgeworth's car, stabbed with Edgeworth's knife. See, it's a very selective application of conflict of interest here. Alright, well, now we can go about poking the crime scene. This looks like a cell phone.
Scientific analysis would suggest this belonged to the victim. I can't think of anyone else it could belong to.
What's so scientific about that? Should we check it out? Of course we should. Right, let's check it out. Oh, very cell phony. Flip phone!
Huh. This phone's still on the redial screen.
Redial?
Mr. Wright? Most phones keep a record of all the calls you've made and received. You just press the blue button to display the last number you called. Convenient, isn't it? I'm surprised you didn't know about it.
Sorry to disappoint you, but even I know about things like redial.
Huh? Oh, I'm sorry. It's just... You never know with people from your generation.
Mind you, Phoenix is like 25. Whatever. Let's check this phone out. Now to see who the owner of this phone called last.
Note to self, a defense attorney doesn't think first, he just pushes the button.
Do we recognize the tune?
Yep.
It's definitely a choice. And this tune is familiar. This is actually the theme tune to the Steel Samurai TV show. It was played as the motif for Will Power's Alter That Case. Hey, that song, I know that! Hey, what's going on over there? Sorry. I see you, partner. You pressed redial on that there phone, didn't you? Well, yeah.
Whose phone is this anyway? It was on the ground over there.
Whose is it? That belongs to Chief Prospector Sky.
What? It's my sister's.
She apparently dropped it when she was taken into custody right after the crime. Look, the last call was made right when the murder occurred. Looks like she was fixing to call someone. Except she only spoke for a few seconds, according to this. Who did she call? No idea. Sorry, partner. Now I got a question for you, partner. I heard a phone ring just now. One of those newfangled ringtones. Oh, that? Oh, sorry, that was my phone. What? Your phone? Yeah, it's kind of strange, but, someone called me right as we picked up the other phone. Wrong number. Yeah, I hope you're not lying. They shoot you for that in Texas, partner. Uh-oh. I've incited the wrath of the Lone Star Patrolman. Cell phone added to court record. Let's see. Well, judging by the outline, the trunk is where the body was mostly in.
This rope, is it?
Yep. They laid it in the outline of the victim's body.
So, wait. The victim must have died when the killer closed the trunk on him.
You've got to be the only person I know that would come to that conclusion. What's this? Looks like a note of some sort.
Look, something's written on it.
You're right. Let's see. 67S12/2.
There's a name printed on the paper above that. Goodman.
Maybe it fell out of his pocket when he was killed?
Well, so? What does it mean, Mr. Wright?
How am I supposed to know?
Note to self, for deductive reasoning, go to Edgeworth, not Wright.
Sir Edgeworth wouldn't know what this means either. Yeah, there's a lot more to the phone. Right now they're busy scrounging through the crime scene. We do actually get to investigate the phone a little bit more later. We find out who that was. I mean, I know who that was. And if you know the rest of the series, you have a suspicion of who that was. But, yeah. But for now, we also have a suspicious note that we can ask the detective about.
So there's no connection between Detective Goodman and my sister.
That's correct, but there's a gold mine of evidence against her. And the prospector tomorrow is none other than Edgeworth himself. I'm afraid your sister's fate is decided, Bambina. Many condolences.
Professor Marshall!
Yeah, Bambina?
How can you say that? You and my sister, you were...
Is there something between this cop and her sister that I don't know about? I apologize, Bambina. Something must have gotten to me. Maybe it's that dry wind that's a-blowing through the prospector's office. Dry wind or ill will, someone's up to something here. But who? Suspicions about Mr. Edgeworth have been flying around for nearly 2 years now. Forged evidence and arranging testimonies, you mean? He was unbeatable because he did whatever it took to win. Marshall is doing a lot of things that are technically frowned upon, so I wouldn't put that past him either. Apparently something has happened in his past to get him busted from detective down to patrolman. He's probably pretty broken up about it. Unbeatable, that is. Until he met you.
Rumors are just rumors, aren't they? These are prosecutors we're talking about. Evidence is everything to them.
If you follow the rumors about Edgeworth to their source, you find one person. But they're off limits. Untouchable, you might say. One person? Who? Hate to say this, but it's your sister, Bambina. Chief Prospector Lana Skye.
What? My sister?
Edgeworth couldn't rustle all those cattle by himself. Some people load their guns with bullets. Some people load them with deals. What, you're saying Edgeworth was making deals to win trials? Where there's gunshots, there's bound to be bullets. That's what the old-timers say. There's a big old secret hidden around here somewhere. Everyone knows it. Is that why Detective Gumshoe was taken off the case? Did they target him because he was closest to Edgeworth?
So, well, how are we doing, Mr. Wright?
I guess we've got some clues. We have an autopsy report, a note from the victim, and a cell phone.
So you think we'll be okay?
Well, the only thing still bothering me is that Lana's confessing to the crime. She says she did it.
No problem. I can guarantee that she's not the criminal.
By the way, Emma,
Yes?
I know that song your phone plays when it rings.
What?
It's the Steel Samurai theme song, isn't it? That popular TV show for kids. The phone that rang earlier wasn't mine, it was yours. At 5:18, just after the murder took place, your sister called you, didn't she, Emma?
I'm sorry!
Can you tell me what you talked about?
She hung up right away.
Let me see. A detective is murdered, and the suspect is the top prosecutor in the district. I got a bad feeling about this. Like, maybe I still don't know everything that went on here. It's investigation day 1. What do we think? Any theory of the crime yet? Do we have any ideas about what might have happened here? Can't cast a suspect without a motive, without evidence of somebody other than Sky or Edgeworth in the scene. That is true. I mean, he's a detective. Lunchbox sales lady. I mean, the victim is a detective. We have a patrolman who used to be a detective in charge of the scene. We have a lunch lady who claims that she used to be the cough-up queen, whatever that means. We have a defendant who is confessing to the crime really adamantly and also seems to want her sister to keep out of this, so that kind of suggests that she didn't do it, but she's covering for someone who did for some reason. And the victim was found in the trunk of Edgeworth's car. I mean, we out here on the meta level are pretty sure that Edgeworth didn't do it, but, like, in-universe, is there a reason why he might have? I mean, there are rumors floating around about Edgeworth forging evidence, and, you know, the guy's fairly suggestively named Bruce Goodman. Maybe he was after corruption at the prosecutor's office? He apparently had no connection to Lana Skye except for briefly working a case with her. Marshall, the lunch lady's boyfriend. Everybody's the lunch lady's boyfriend. The lunch lady gets around. Marshall is one of her boyfriends. The security guard was another one of her boyfriends. I think she has others. Also somebody in criminal affairs somewhere. The lunch lady has some ulterior motives that may or may not be related to the murder. Knowing how these cases are written, you can probably guess that pretty much everyone winds up connected in the end. But for now, we have a moderately crazy, fairly bloodthirsty lunch lady, a patrolman doing a detective's job, a detective who has been specifically barred from doing his job, a prosecutor who's confessing to a murder, and another prosecutor whose car was involved in the murder who's prosecuting the first prosecutor because nobody else will do it. Okay. That's not a bad guess. If he's the primary suspect, though, why was he assigned to the crime scene? Like, the chief of police did that. I mean, did he know he'd be assigned to the crime scene? What's his connection to all this, you think? How did the investigation go yesterday, Mr. Wright? Okay. So, everyone connected to Edgeworth is suspicious. I mean, yeah, at this point, for a lot of different reasons, they probably are. Frankly, there are still a lot of gray areas.
Or rather, the whole thing is one big gray area.
Don't worry about me, no matter what the outcome. I'm ready to accept my fate.
I believe in you, sis.
I mean, why exactly? Because she's 16 and this is her big sister. I mean, there's not really a mystery there. Mr. Wright, let me offer you a word of advice. Yes? A defense attorney should never believe their client. The defendant is called to trial because they're suspected of wrongdoing. Never forget that. Miss Guy, you remind me a lot of Mia. But there's one decisive difference between you and her. And that is, you're not a defense attorney. I believe it's almost time for the trial. Good luck, Mr. Wright. Emma might be more connected to the murder than just an in-the-moment phone call. I mean, otherwise, wouldn't you kind of keep everything as far away from her as possible? My first trial without a Fae helping me. No one's gonna bail me out this time. I'll be alone in there. So I have to discover the truth all by myself.
Let's do it, Mr. Wright. I'll be with you the whole way.
Court is now in session for the trial of Ms. Lana Skye. The defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution has been ready for a while, Your Honor. Edgeworth. It's been 2 months, but I haven't been in a courtroom since his trial. I hoped that personal feelings would not be a part of the proceedings today, Mr. Wright. I will choose the path I think is right, regardless of what those around me might say. The judgment to be made here is in our hands, not those of anyone else. Very well, Mr. Edgeworth, your opening statement, please. Chief Prosecutor Lana Skye has committed an unpardonable crime. Not only this, but she was rash enough to commit it in the prosecutor's office locked.
Wow, he's much more forceful in person. I suddenly feel like confessing to everything.
However, she will now pay for her rashness with her life. There was a witness to her crime. A professional witness. Well then, call your first witness, Mr. Edgeworth. The prosecution calls its first witness, Ms. Angel Starr, to the stand. Cough up queen? Haven't I seen you somewhere? You ordered the caviar lunch, right? Oh, caviar! I've never eaten caviar before. The judge is really wolfing it down. Ah, and for you, I have a fiesta bowl. Thanks. Will the witness state her name and profession? Ah, and you, sir. Did you order the fingerprint lunchbox? It is too early for lunch. Your name and profession, please. Well, Your Honor, how does it taste? So this is why everyone raves about caviar. It's so tasty it hurts. I always thought caviar would taste like pickled tapioca. What the heck does pickled tapioca taste like? Name. Profession. Now. Me? The name is Angel Star. Don't go forgetting it.
find myself running Lunchland these days. Is that what you wanted me to say, Mr. Edgeworth?
Very well, witness. Please describe the incident to us. The prosecution will wait. I'm not finished eating. Hurry it up. Very well, Mr. Edgeworth. As you know, we usually call in the police to provide a description of the crime.
Your Honor, as Mr. Edgeworth has said to the court, I am a professional.
What exactly does that mean? Until 2 years ago, Ms. Angel Star was a special investigator with the police. She was a first-rate homicide detective.
What? Miss Star was a detective.
Ah! I know who you are. Cough up!
Cough up, Queen Angel Star, Your Honor. Long time no see.
Very well, you may continue with the description, Miss Star. Who is this lady?
If I might have the court's attention over here. The parking lot at the prosecutor's office is divided into 2 blocks. A block is for the prosecutor's office personnel. B block is for visitors and clients. A chain divider separates the 2 blocks.
I suppose that's to keep visitors from taking up prosecutor spaces, yes?
The crime took place by a car in the back of A block, in the car's trunk. The killer stabbed the victim with this knife and went to drive the body out. Unfortunately for her, there was a witness, and an arrest was made on the spot.
And who was this valiant witness?
Why, it was me, Your Honor.
We have the floor plans of the parking lot now. Witness, did you see the very moment of the crime?
Of course, Your Honor. Immediately after that, I apprehended the chief prosecutor.
Seems rather cut and dry, doesn't it? Well, Mr. Wright? I can't agree on principle, Your Honor. Something happened 2 years ago which will be relevant? Almost certainly, yes.
It seems that some poor losers are unwilling to accept the truth, Your Honor. Shall I proceed to crush what little hope they have remaining?
If you can, then give them your worst, Ms. Star. Wait, are they talking about me? Witness account.
Somehow I always knew a day like this would come. I was on my way to deliver a lunchbox to my boyfriend, when I sensed something. Perhaps it was my finely honed detective's intuition at work. Through the wire fence, I saw the chief prosecutor standing next to a garish car. The chief prosecutor was holding a knife in her right hand. Then she thrust the pointy tip of the knife into Detective Goodman's chest.
Bringing a lunchbox to your boyfriend? How touching. As you can see, there is no room for doubt. The key point of your testimony seems to be nothing other than the point of the knife, which you saw being stabbed into Detective Goodman.
So, how does it feel to be so utterly crushed?
I'm still thinking about that.
It's merely a flesh wound, Mr. Wright.
Very well, Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness. How did you know?
I respect the prosecutor's basic abhorrence of crime, yet their methods are ugly and twisted. Twisted methods will always lead to tragedy.
The lunch lady's uninformed opinion is duly noted.
Given that they are used to erasing inconvenient evidence at their whim, killing off a detective that knew too much is merely an extension of that. Miss Starr, do you have something personal against prosecutors? I've felt that I'd found my dream job when I became an investigator.
And if I hadn't been laid off by those prosecutors over there, I'd still be one. Laid off? She was fired. To me, prosecutors are nothing more than worms. That said, I am a pro, as you know. My testimony is unbiased and flawless. Very well, you may continue, Ms. Starr. This boyfriend, he is the detective?
Not that boyfriend. The security guard.
That boyfriend? You have, several?
Yes.
This boyfriend, that boyfriend, and the other boyfriend.
Care to join?
The yet another boyfriend position is still open for applicants. I'll stick with the lunches, thanks.
Note to self, the judge had to think before replying.
The security guard room is in the lot, in A block.
It's up on the second level, so you can see everything from there.
That would be the room with the security sign. It's, you can see the end of security up above the computer terminal and the door up there. Incidentally, did you bring your lunchboxes by car?
Since I'm a visitor now, I parked in B block. So, she was in B block when she witnessed the crime.
So if you were in B block... Alright, I need to press something else first. Whoops! See, this is the problem when I know what's happening, but the game hasn't gotten there yet. Here we go. By garage car, you mean...
Mr. Edgeworth's car, yes.
Mr. Edgeworth's?
Incidentally, the knife with which the victim was stabbed was also Mr. Edgeworth's. Wasn't it?
Indeed it was. What an odd case this is. And the person you saw, you're sure it was the defendant?
I saw her from no further than 30 feet away.
I'm certain it was her. If she's telling the truth, we're doomed.
Let's just do what we can. Even if we don't have any proof, we can always nitpick.
Witness, in your testimony, you clearly stated the following. Prosecutors are nothing more than worms. Ergo, you're a biased witness. You might want to keep those silly opinions to yourself in the future, rookie. Huh? Rookie? Unless you're willing to risk the consequences of doubting me. I'll fry you like a fritter. Crispy on the outside, chewy on the inside. That was inspiring.
I believe I've heard that tagline elsewhere. You could cry plagiarism?
I may be relegated to the lowly post of lunch lady, but my instincts are honed. A photograph? You took this? The moment I witnessed the crime, my reflexes took over and snap! I took a picture. In fact, one of my lunchboxes is rigged with a camera. Suppose that's more exciting than just hanging it around your neck. Witness, why am I only seeing this photograph just now? You think I'd show it to you, a prosecutor? Think again.
My boyfriend works in the photography division of criminal affairs.
Well, this is most certainly the defendant. I mean, the chain link fence is in the photo. It's the overlay. It's out of focus. Yeah, these are all taken, assuming optical cameras. I know digital camera, everything's in focus at the same time because it's focused at infinity, but an optical camera will look through things that are nearer, blurry, to get things that are farther. Uh-oh, that is unmistakably Lana Sky. So, what was the defendant doing at the time? Now we present the crime scene photo. The parking lot. And you witnessed this. You saw Miss Sky stab the victim with a knife.
As I've already said, yes.
I swear it on my finest salmon swirl lunch. I'm sure that is a fine lunch. But isn't that odd? I mean, look at this photograph. This is the photograph you took at the very moment of the crime, is it not? Then why is Miss Sky not holding a knife? Ahem. Mr. Edgeworth, your thoughts? Objection. That had to be the weakest objection ever, Edgeworth. Yet it was still stronger than your ever-feeble mind, Mr. Wright. What do you mean, Mr. Edgeworth? This photograph was not taken the moment before the stabbing. This was taken the moment after the stabbing.
And how can you tell that? Blood spatter.